Afternoon. Really nothing different from yesterday when we spoke. I felt like defensively we felt like we had to handle Jefferson, and we did that. But Thielen got us a little bit, and we didn't shut down Cook early enough. So, that played a factor. We did get a turnover, and we were good on third down. We just couldn't get them in enough third downs, But when we did, we had success. And then offensively, there again, just man, we did some really good things. Had a lot of explosive plays, but our third downs weren't quite on par, and it was a little bit. Everybody had a hand in that, So. Anyway, I'll open it up for questions.
We saw Swift exit that game and doing a lot of work with, something maybe to do with the shoulder on the sideline. There's a report out there that, it's a sprain. Is there any concern right now that you might be down with Swift here the next week or two?
It could potentially. Yeah, we're looking at it. That shoulder's a little sore, and so we'll see where he's at, but it could be an issue.
Is there any thought that, beyond that, just giving him some rest, right? He's beat up, he's playing through things. I know you guys have gone just to try to keep, playing and show some of that toughness, but I don't know. Can he benefit from having 2 weeks off and coming back after the bye?
Yeah, and we thought about that. That was one of the things I was thinking about last night and this morning, and so it's certainly it's on my mind. It's on our mind. I mean, if you feel like he's good enough to go, we know what he's capable of, but not at the expense of, him not being even up to, 75% of himself. Every player's got to be at a certain point to be able to produce, and then not to mention, the practice, not to be able to practice and get the detail of things, So that's not fair to Swift either, to him or to us. So certainly we're thinking about that as well.
There's a lot of scrutiny, obviously, on the field goal decision, but I don't think we actually just heard about the 3rd and 1, the shot play that you guys took there, throwing it deep with about 10 minutes left.
To Reynolds?
Yeah, I think that was.
Yeah, it was one of those plays we felt like we were going to get the look we wanted. We get good protection. We knew they would be playing the run, so you're able to latch up on those guys. Goff would have time to see it, and we felt like Reynolds could win on the perimeter. And, it ended up being tight coverage and didn't work out for us. But I'm good with the decision.
There was another shot play to Reynolds earlier in the game where he didn't run to the ball. Do you know what happened there? Did he lose it in the lights? Or?
He just never really saw it, Listen, I love the play call. It was exactly what we wanted. It was a hell of a route, and it was a hell of a throw. Once he came out, he lost sight of it, and that would have been a big one.
Yeah, and on the 4th and 4 call on the field goal, I think when we look at it, when fans look at it, it's just purely a strategic choice. But as a coach, who's dinged up, who can go, who can run, who can cut, all this stuff. Does that play a factor in your mind of what are our chances of getting this yardage if this guy can't get the ball or can't do what we want him to do?
It does. Yes, it does. And I mean, there was. Before that point, we had some chances to close that game out offensively that we didn't capitalize on. But at the end of the day, when you look at all 3 units, what was the unit that was going to give you the best chance to win that game, that type of game? And it was offense. I thought Goff was throwing the ball well. I thought we were protecting well, and and that's the way we should have gone.
Do you still have confidence in Seibert to kick that kind of field goal when you need it?
Well, yeah. Listen, I'd be willing to give him another go. I mean, if I didn't feel that way, I wouldn't have let him kick there at the end of the game. Yeah. I know he missed the first one, but he came back and made the second one, and so I felt like he would make this, and and it didn't work out. But yeah, I mean, now full disclosure, he's a little bit sore today, so we'll see what happens with him.
You said that after the Philly game, we talked about close losses, and you don't want to repeat those. Lost by 3, lost by 3, lost another one, another close one. There's a lot of anxiousness among the fandom right now. after last night. What's your message to fans to why would you encourage them to stick with you and keep believing in you after yet another close loss?
Yeah, listen, I get the road that everybody's been down. Listen, I'm not sweating it. I'm not sweating it. This team's not sweating it. We got a long season. You look out throughout this league, and it happens this way every year. And I feel like what happens to you early in the season is it really molds who you're going to be as the season goes on and late in the season. Those ones that can endure the adversity of the seasons, the ups and downs, and just stay in the race are the ones that have success. And that's all we got to worry about is our own. We just got to let's clean up all the little areas. And I told them, I said, look, failing isn't failure unless you don't learn from it. And so, that was a tough one. We were up 2 scores. Should have won that game, but you know what? We didn't earn the right to win that game. Minnesota did. And we got to look long and hard in the mirror at ourselves, and we got to clean up these errors. And, it's not an excuse, but we are still young, and we got some guys that, even though they're not old players, they haven't played a lot of football, or they're not young players, they haven't played a lot of football. So we got to learn from it, and we got to move on and be better the next time it comes up. But I'm not – listen, this is not time to go in panic mode. This is not time to worry. This is time to do just what we did from Philly to Washington. Let's just get better. Let's just focus on the little details. So that's what it's about.
So one that was brought to my attention, I didn't catch during the game, but the drive, particularly one before your final offensive drive, you guys were snapping the ball pretty early in the play clock, 10 to 15 seconds remaining, although the play calling style seemed to be more, conducive to running the clock out. So just wondering strategically why snap it so early in the play clock and not milk those extra seconds off in those situations?
Yeah, I think that some of it becomes just rhythm of play, even though you're running it. You're on the road, it's loud. You hate to have your offensive lineman up there too long. Now, you can always just break, get to the huddle, and go. But I think that you got to be careful. You got to be careful as to when you start going 4-minute mode. I think in this league, everything has shifted so much offensively, and especially when they had 3 timeouts, you got to be careful and not at the expense of getting out of rhythm. And sometimes when you sit and milk and then, all right, now here we go, it can mess with your rhythm a little bit. So certainly there's a time and place. I'm not saying that, but I didn't feel like we were quite in that mode yet.
I was just curious on a personal level, what was last night like for you? You're obviously a guy who can take things, some of these games hard, very serious. So did you sleep? Do you watch the game? What was your night like when you got back here?
Yeah, look, I can't sleep, win or lose, and so, yeah, man, you get an hour and then you're up and you just think about it. You process the information. What could I have done better, and what, how do you change the game from your own aspect, or how could we have prepared better? Could we have? And that's the nature of the beast. So I got to be better. I got to learn from it. No different than the players have to. And I got to do my part, and I plan on doing my part. So I'm not going to be phased. I'm going to have this team up and ready to go, and we're going to be better.
One of the things you have to deal with this week is Tracy's loss, obviously. How did Juju play yesterday, and what are the options, I guess, back there, if he's healthy enough to?
Yeah, losing Tracy hurts. That's a significant loss, and because multiple reasons. I mean, Tracy's been, since I walked in the door last year, he's been all in, and he's one of our team captains this year. Nobody's put in more work than he has, since the spring, and he's one of the smartest players we have on defense. That's huge, and he's productive, and so you're losing a big cog in the piece that helps you over there. So it'll hurt. Now, I thought Juju was solid. He was solid. He can be better. But I thought not getting those reps and stepping in and doing some of the things he did, that was good. And that's kind of what we know about Juju. He'll go in there and he'll be able to function and give you what he's got. So, but we're going to look at everything and see what gives us the best chance to win, personnel-wise, scheme-wise, everything.
How far off is Melvin?
Yeah, he's about ready. He's about ready. So he'll be somebody that we consider this week as well.
Will Harris back to safety? Could that be an option?
We'll talk about that. I don't know if I see that move right now. We kind of like Will right where he's at. If anything, he could get some more corner work. I don't want to totally say he's not getting the safety, but we think there's a real good spot where he's at right now that maximizes him and us, what he's able to do for us.
You mentioned, do you need to follow up, Dave?
Well, I was just saying, both you and some of the players said the miscommunication sort of on that last drive that I touched on. Was Tracy's absence, how big of a role was that in that?
Yeah, look, it hurts. It hurts. I mean, there again, he's one of the smartest players we have in the back end. So that hurts. I mean, that's like, there again, he's a productive player, and he's really the quarterback of our secondary. So, it hurts a little bit.
You mentioned Cook's success in the game, not stopping him the way you wanted to. Seen with your edge rushers, you were really crashing down and kind of leaning on some of your perimeter players there to make the stops. Was that a big part of the problem? Was that they weren't fulfilling their jobs, and is that something maybe that you need to reevaluate in terms of stylistically?
Yeah, listen, that was certainly a portion of it. Those did show up because we had a number of things gapped out up front. Those guys were filling the creases, and it was bouncing the perimeter, which is where we wanted it to go. And some of it is just, fitting it properly on the perimeter. Where do I got to get on this one? Where do I need to be? All right, now I got it. Now I need the corner to close on the edge, whether it was the nickel or the corner, the safety. And there again, it's just the little nuances of it, man. Just trust the technique, be disciplined, trust that your buddy's going to be out there. You just fill your gap. He's coming to squeeze, and it's trust. There's a little bit of trust element. Just do your job, and those things are all correctable, though. They're all correctable. And our tackles, our corners will tackle, and Hughes will tackle, and our safeties. So that'll get fixed. That'll get fixed.
Is there any when you look at Amani's game yesterday on film, how do you get him back on track this week?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Amani's game.
Yeah.
When you look at some of the struggles he had with the penalties, how do you get him back on track this
Yeah,
week?
look, I think Amani's a pro, and look, he had a rough game, and that's the bottom line. But I also know he also snapped back there at the end and got a big stop for us, one-on-one with Thielen on the perimeter. So I think Amani's got thick skin. I know that he's going to want to be better, and he'll come out this week ready to work. I'm really not worried about him. I think he'll snap right back to the Amani we know. All right.